Hey guys, I wanted to share a dream that God gave me about 2 years ago now. And it's something that very recently God has brought back to my attention. And I have discovered it just within the past 2 weeks. I've discovered six other people, and I know there's more out there who've had a very similar vision to the one God gave me. And I think there's more to it than I originally thought. Now, I'll go ahead and share the dream with you, just whatever exactly how it was when God gave this to me. Now, when I had this vision from God in my dream, it was at night, and I was standing in what I perceived to be my mother-in-law's house in Hawaii, and I hear a commotion outside the window, outside, and there's just, it almost sounds like panic and confusion, and I look out the window, and I see this giant wave, and I can't. Comparing it to a wave doesn't do it justice. I mean, it was like the ocean had just been folded in half, and miles up, you look up, and all you can see is this ocean. I mean, I couldn't see the top of it, and I'm looking out the window, and it wasn't like this crescent wave that was coming. It was like a wall of ocean, and I remember just having this feeling of just in awe of how big it was, and no, I wasn't exactly like panicked or screaming to run out, but I remember just being kind of confused, like, how is this happening? And my brother was standing right next to me in this vision. And as I was looking up at it, I just kind of thought for a second, and I heard the voice of God, just as clear as he can be, say, "I'm gathering my elect with the four winds." And somehow the peace and the wisdom in those words, I knew that this wasn't there to harm us. And I grabbed my brother's arm and I said, "This is for us." And I don't know how I knew that this was going to somehow like take us up, but I grabbed his arm and I looked out the window, and it was like this wind just pulled us up this wave, and we are flying up the side of this wave as if it's pulling us up into itself, but we are going straight up like we're flying to the top of it. I don't know. And it was just super fast and how it just sucked us up out this window. And as soon as I start, kind of flying up towards the top of this wave, the dream ends. And it was very strange to me, because I felt like at the time, in the dream, that this was the Lord's return, that, this is the last days. And I kind of thought, it didn't make sense, because in our understanding of the Lord's return, you're going to see, the Son of Man coming in the clouds, and the dead in Christ will rise first, and then we're going to meet him in the air. So I was puzzled by this dream and trying to understand it. It was very clear what God said about, and I know that verse is actually in Mark chapter 13, I believe it's verse 27, where he refers to gathering his elects, and Jesus is describing the end times when he comes to this specific passage. And before this dream, that verse wasn't on my mind. I'd read over it, but it was never something that was clear to me. I probably couldn't have quoted it to you at the time, but that God shared that with me in that dream. And something about this wave, and the reason that this has been at me lately is because I can't understand why I'm not the only one who saw this. There are so many other people, and I want to share. I'm going to put a link to their testimonies. All these people who are having this dream about this giant wave that's coming, and I want to know what to make of it. Is it a literal wave? Is there some giant wave that's coming? Or is this a symbolic? Is there something to this that God's trying to share with us? And I listened to a guy, his name is Marcus Rogers, and I've been subscribed to him for a while. And his interpretation of his dream, he had a vision actually of this wave, very, very similar in size and everything to the one I had in my dream. And he interpreted it as God's Spirit coming, and it's going to be poured out. And I'll really advise you to watch his vision, because it's really, I think, spot on to what God's doing right now when he talks about pouring out his Spirit. But if you've had this vision, please share that vision with us. I would love to hear it. I feel like there's more to this, and I think the fact that I just randomly stumbled across 3, 4, and then 5, and then 6 other people who've had a very, very similar vision, and each one of them talking about this this massive wave that's coming. I want to figure out exactly what that means, and I've been recently kind of asking God, what exactly does this mean? What is going to happen? Because I've heard of these, this one guy tried to say that, hey, there's a wave. He had this vision. It's coming on this specific date. And I'm really not too big on trying to pick a date and things like that. Not that I'm even saying this is a literal wave that's coming, but I really would like to hear your insight, guys, on this. If you've had the same vision or anything, any kind of end time vision, I feel like God is really trying to warn us. And there's been this urgency just throughout this past year. I can remember getting this spiritual feeling as I'm going throughout my routine that something's coming, that there's a change, and I kept trying to brush it off like, I really don't know if that's just me being, like conspiracy minded or whatever, but I kept getting that spiritual urgency that something's happening, something's changing, and then, little did we know that everything was about to change this year. So much has changed, and I think it's almost going to a point where we're like, can we go back to the way things were? Well, is that even possible? There's so much going on right now. But I want you guys to be alert and be on the lookout, because something big is coming. And God is pouring out His Spirit right now in a way that I don't think we've ever witnessed before. People are waking up now, and there's going to be, of course, there's always going to be the majority that doesn't. But right now, God is doing something incredible, and we need to understand that God is gathering His elect. And we need to be ready for whatever happens, whatever comes next. And please do check out these visions that other people are having, because I think I was very moved by a lot of them. Now, some of them take with a grain of salt. You never know where someone's coming from. I'm not saying that all these people are prophets and that they had this real vision, but many of them are, and many of them did have a very, very powerful vision. And I think it's worth taking a second look at. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful time as we come out of this crazy pandemic that's been going on. Y'all have a blessed day. God bless.